Heyo everybody, Haku here with my review for Tower of God Chapter 410 or Season 2 Episode 330. My throat's been hurting for like the past 30 minutes for some reason. It felt like there was a hair stuck in it, I was coughing a bunch, and that's how I ended up with my voice sounding kind of bad, I think. At least it sounds bad in my head talking. But either way, I'm recording this actually on Tuesday, so I'm actually recording it on time. But because I have some other videos to post, it might not be posted until Wednesday morning, so sorry about that. But either way, I really like this one. Again, like I say every week, it's kind of becoming a joke at this point. Like I say every week, it's been really great recently, for a while now, and it continued, it continued on being great. Not only did we get a bunch of really cool action, but in addition to that, we also got good development for Chonhee again, I guess, but really good development for Kallavan and the future of what could happen with powers similar to Kallavan's. But either way, let's talk about it scene by scene from the beginning. So starting from the beginning, Chonhee quickly loses her cool at Yuri. Yuri doesn't have to badmouth her very much, and Chonhee is flying off the handle really quickly. We get a flashback, and I love seeing younger Yuri. We finally get a flashback of Yuri's past a little bit, in a bit of an unexpected way, but it was cool. We see that Chonhee has constantly been looked over for Yuri. She was the one training Yuri, and yet Yuri was the one getting looked at as the one with all the skill. And Yuri's free spirit, I think especially, in addition to having everything handed to her, we've seen with Chonhee that she's really very much into rules and orders and regulations, and you've got to follow exactly what you're told to do by the authority and all of that. So for her to be looked over and for Yuri to be selected, even though Yuri's totally not like that, completely a free spirit, hanging out with Wall Song, getting involved with Bomb, that kind of stuff bothers Chonhee even more. So we have those two and what pops off between them before we jump over to what's going on with Bomb's side of things. We see that Andrasi is sending everyone to this ship that Misang is sending her coordinate targets to. So again, it's a really cool team up with Misang and Andrasi together. The two of them we've seen multiple times now work really well in unison, which I think is really cool personally. But we get to see kind of a retelling or a different angle of Bomb blocking the director's attack with what's going on there, which I think is really cool. I'm a sucker for that when there's something and I'm like, that it is what this in particular isn't as bad, where this I think was developed enough as it was. I didn't really need to see it from another angle, but especially with some comics that I read where we'll see something and I'm like, we'll see something happen, and I'm like, that wasn't super developed, and then they'll go back the next chapter and say sort of the backstory between what happened with it, with that attack, or retell that attack from a more detailed angle, and I'll be like, okay, I totally get what happened now, and that makes a lot more sense, and I appreciate when stories do that. So I did like that. Bomb sucks in the white noise when Charlie tries to use it again. Charlie's thinking to himself, he was just gonna kind of stall, wait for Bomb to run out since Bomb is just wasting up a bunch of energy swinging around or whatever, and it's not really doing anything to him. He was just gonna kind of chill. I don't like chill Charlie. But he was just going to kind of chill, and then he realized, it would be pretty bad if I took it easy and then he actually escapes with the hostages. That'd be pretty dumb of me. So he starts to move in. He tanks another Black March Endless Sky, which again is like possibly the most powerful attack Bomb could do, but I do think, I'll talk about it later, I do think there's a more powerful thing Bomb could do, technically. But yeah, basically Bomb's strongest attack in this form. He's just tanking it like it's basically nothing. Sharon shows up and she notices, she's like, okay, that's the Black March. Totally not good. Gonna have to take you in for questioning, bub. but in addition to that, she's like, I can feel the power coming from that red thing. Also totally not cool. Gonna have to take that too. So it's cool that we have somebody that instantly recognizes, ah shit, the thorn. I mean, not knowing it's the thorn, I guess, but noting that it's something that is powerful or different. Whereas Charlie, being the weak ranker he is, didn't really pay much Chill Charlie is not paying much attention to anything here, including the thorn. So again, I like all that, and I have some sort of general thoughts about it, but I'll leave it for the general thoughts section after I do this rundown. We cut away from there to the Ginseng and Kallavan fight continuing. Ginseng says that younger members of the family just tank all these attacks, but the Ha family, what they're supposed to be, what they are technicians when it comes to Shinsu body strengthening and their martial arts. So he uses a Shinsu boost that lets him fight pretty evenly without trying all that much against Kallavan. Neither of them are trying that hard, really, but they're throwing out all these really cool martial arts attacks without trying much. But then Kallavan says, I saw something. He says that he saw something in the essence of bravery when he took it, but I love the way that he says it, where it's like, you aren't even going to ask what I saw, and Ginseng's just like, you saw something? Well, what was it? So he's just like, spit it out, okay, you're making me ask, so I'm going to ask. I thought that was all really good. But he says that he saw a massive, muscular man who was a martial arts master. I've seen some people, I think, having a theory that it was V, but I think, no, this is probably way further back than that. And in addition to it being further back than that, I don't really picture V as being a big, muscular, manly man. I picture him as being more bomb-like, I guess. But either way. But he saw a big, massive, muscular, manly man who was a martial arts master. And he sees that person killed constantly. Everywhere was a battlefield, streams of blood and all that. And eventually he stopped fighting and sealed himself away. And it was at that moment that Kallavan finally got to see the look on his face, got to see his eyes. And he just looked tired and full of regret and sadness. It wasn't the face of a warrior, it was a face full of sadness and regret. So he ended up gaining that man's power, the absolute limit of bravery, and he was scared that he would have the same fate, going around with this ultimate power, destroying everybody, and just being full of sadness and regret. That's why he turned down joining FUG as a Slayer, because he was scared he'd end up with the same fate that guy did. From there, he finally realized that, if he just sits around and hides away with that power, there's still going to be wars, there's still going to be tragedies. So what he has to do is that he has to go and use his power to stop wars and to stop tragedies. In his way of creating that utopia, he decided that he can't do it under his name, he can't do it alone. He needs a name that reaches further, so he's going to use his power to make everyone submit and surrender to Zahard. So I think that's really cool. We have a character who, rather using his power to try to surpass Zahard, he's seen Zahard himself's power and has been like, I'm going to make people sort of fall down and surrender to him, but for the sake of a utopia. So it's this really, really cool character where he's kind of a psychopath, he's kind of a bad guy like Ginseng was saying, but at the same time he has these really positive convictions. So it's a really nuanced and really cool character. I love Kallavan's character right now and his character writing. So he ends up activating the essence of bravery and uses the transcendental skill Atomic Explosion. Now I think transcendental skills, I think we've seen more than this, but I'm pretty sure Data Zahard used one, and I know Bomb used one. Bomb used the Remnant of Stardust, and once he used that attack, that left him and Zahard both knocked out unconscious for a while. So that's sort of like Bomb's ultimate attack was the transcendental skill, and we've seen it before as other people basically using their ultimates. So we don't really know what a transcendental skill is yet, but it seems to be, from the name I would guess, you transcend your normal boundaries and go into ultimate move territory. So again, I think there's a big move from Kallavan, and we still know that Bomb has that big move, but I think it's cool whenever we get sort of this tier of transcendental skills. And we've seen lethal moves too, that I don't know if that's supposedly a different tier or not, but we've seen lethal moves. But yeah, either way, I thought it was a good chapter again. We got to see young Yuri, which I thought was great. there really wasn't too much to do with the Yuri and Chonhee thing. It was a good development for Chonhee and all, but I liked seeing younger Yuri. Bomb's riding with that section. I think that Bomb is being balanced really, really well. What I was going to say earlier, where Bomb could probably step it up a little bit, because I'm going into general thoughts. The stuff in the blog was not really anything particularly different. It's basically the same old him hinting, oh yeah, Bomb's still kind of in trouble with rankers, but he still could have a chance, and there's more things that are important than just raw power. And then the same thing with Ginseng and Kallavan stuff is really important, and they're really well matched with their body strengthening and martial arts and all that, and who will win, I wonder. It's just that kind of stuff. It wasn't any big lore reveals this week or anything, which I think is kind of good. If we have just big lore reveals every single week, we'd be learning more from the blog than from the series itself. But yeah, I thought that Bomb was written really balanced here, where he has all this stuff in his favor, like the Thorn, like the Orb, like the Shinwan Ryu, like the Black March. He has all this OP stuff that's in his favor, and yet he's still really not doing much with basically his strongest attack against Charlie. But the thing is that he doesn't, and the way that CU said it makes it seem like, in certain situations he could be dangerous to a ranker, which I think is good, showing that Bomb is clearly not on a ranker's level, even a ranker level like Charlie, who's one of the weaker ones. But if someone were to totally underestimate him, he could get an attack off, and Bomb's attacks, with all this stuff working towards him, could maybe hurt the person. The difference is just experience, collection of skills, and Bomb still has a large way up the tower to go. But I think it's good here that the way to ride it is that Bomb doesn't have to beat Charlie. That's never been the thing. Bomb just has to distract him enough for Andraste to escape, and I think Bomb actually did it. As long as Bomb now gets rescued by somebody, he's basically survived his not really fight with a ranker. He's basically survived because the guy we saw wasn't able to block Andraste because Bomb absorbed his Shinsu attack. So from that, we can assume that Andraste has been able to teleport everyone to that ship. And so I think that Andraste and Miseng are going to be good. And then, yeah, all Bomb has to do is figure out a way out of there, which is going to be kind of difficult. But at the same time, the harder part seemed to be rescuing the hostages, and they seem to have done that. So yeah, I think it's good. Bomb was able to distract Charlie enough in order for them to do what they had to do, and now he just needs to get out of there without dying, which is going to be incredibly, incredibly difficult. Because even if he stood somewhat of a chance against Charlie, it's a completely different story when Sharon, who is a division commander, shows up. And in addition to that, what I was going to say with Bomb having one step up is I'm pretty sure basically his strongest attack, other than the transcendental skill Stardust, would be the Endless Sky, and the only form or power-up that he has stronger than what he's using now would be, and of course what he's using now is probably extremely powered up from last time we saw it, because he has Black March, which is entirely OP. But the only way he could make himself stronger would be to go to Burnt Chestnut form, and Burnt Chestnut form, we know last time, after he went into that, after he used Stardust, he was out for a while because of that. It took him a while to recover, and he even said that he's not really, he can't just pop into that power whenever. That's not really how it works, and that's kind of dangerous to do. So we're seeing that even at his strongest level, he is in a very bad spot, and the only way he could go stronger would be to go Burnt Chestnut, which Bomb is not an idiot. He's smart enough to know that's not a great idea, because then if I go unconscious for a while, I'm not going to be in the best of places. So now we got to think, how is Bomb going to get out of here now that he's surrounded by high rankers? One thing I forgot to bring up last week, and I'll bring up this week, we didn't get to see any of Kun Royale Elliot and Evankel. I hope it's not off screen, but there's always a chance Evankel could come in for the save or whatever and get Bomb out of there. Then in addition to that, there's the chance that Yuri pulls something. She's right now facing off with Chonhee, but she has whatever this green Shinsu teleportation is. Andrasi could always get him out of there because Bong Bong Driver. And then we still have a lot that we don't know what's going on. There were all these characters we were hinted at in the beginning that we haven't even seen yet. There's still Li Xiaowun, was that his name? I don't really remember. But yeah, he's still doing something somewhere eventually. We didn't see any of Shua Arthur and Yuan Sung, I now realize. Trying to think of how Bomb could get out of this. I mean, there's just so many people with teleporty stuff. We didn't see any of Rack's group this week, and we also haven't seen any of Ship's group in a while. So there's a lot of ways that Bomb's group could get out of this, and that's kind of the goal here. Their goal is to escape, and Zahard's army is going to be a little bit screwed if they do escape, because if they manage to escape, then they're going to have to go to war with either FUG, which is going to be hard to find, let alone fight once they find them, or go to war with the, was it Pobedao family, which would maybe cause a civil war. So there's a lot of really cool stuff going on, and the fight means a lot. Same thing going on with Kallavan. Kallavan's character is incredibly cool. He could and possibly will kill Jinsung here, and if he does, that's, you know, an interesting mentor thing where Bomb's obviously, even though his mentor relationship is a bit odd given the circumstances with Jinsung, he's still probably going to want to get some measure of retribution at some point against Kallavan, and they're going to have a showdown eventually. And maybe Kallavan is going to be this sort of last line of defense for Bomb to overcome before he gets to overcome Zahard. But either way, Kallavan's a very, very cool character at this point in the story. And is there anything else I'm missing here? Oh yeah, Kallavan's power, him having the essence of bravery and all the stuff, it's a really cool thing that I brought up in the past with kind of Dada Zahard and with even Levy and Kaiser, is where there's this constant ability for CU to introduce characters that have special powers or special circumstances that give them powers. So I think it's cool because if Kallavan has this out of nowhere essence of bravery power that's cool and different and unique, then there's tons of room for a ton of other characters with these unique powers like that too. So yeah, I thought all of it was good. As a score, I'd give it 9.5 living nukes out of 10. I enjoyed it, and hope you did too. So if you did like the video, comment down there, tell me what you thought of this week's chapter, what you thought of my thoughts on it. Subscribe for more Tower of God, much more on the channel. This probably will not be up until Wednesday morning, because it went a little bit on the longer side. So yeah, did I say like, comment, subscribe? Follow on Twitter if you want. I can try to keep you up to there and stuff for the channel or talk to you there. And if you want a link to our Discord server to talk to me or more of us there about Tower of God or anything else, just ask and I can give you a link. That's it. Thank you once again for watching, and I'll see you all next time.